Hi, it's Teresa from Dodge Nature Center, and time for another Nature to Go. Well, we're heading into the end of the year, and as often happens this time of year, people reflect on events that took place during the year. And for Nature to Go, we're going to look back at, well, what kind of crazy weather did we have this year? What was it like in terms of some of the phenology that we came across in the year? Early in January, we experienced rime ice. This is when the trees were coated with all that beautiful white. And it was really quite spectacular, especially around the Nature Center. January was interesting because it was only the third time since they started keeping records that we went the entire month with no zero or below zero temperatures. Not bad. But then February made up for things by giving us a stretch of weather that was below zero for about 131 hours, the 10th longest stretch on record. And we had our coldest temperature on Valentine's Day last year, 19 below. Yeah, lovely. But you know, Minnesota, wait around long enough and the weather will change for you. By March 3rd, we had our first 50-degree temperature. 4 days later, it was in the 60s. And then on March 10th, we actually had tornado warnings here in Dakota County. Later that evening, we had a thunderstorm that produced hails. Snow was gone from the yards. It was like spring was definitely there. By the end of the month, we had our first 70-degree temperature. April was windy. We had red flag warnings. We had low humidity, very strong winds, couldn't have any fires. But it did snow a couple of times during the month. The other thing about April, it was a really cloudy month. 24 out of 30 days, we either had totally cloudy days or partly cloudy days. And May was like a lot of Minnesota Mays. We still had cold temperatures, frost on the 7th. On the 19th, we had 8 tornadoes in the state. And by the 22nd, it was hot and humid. But then back on the 27th, we had another frost warning. You never know what to expect in Minnesota. And then June hit. In the first 13 days, we had 10 where the temperatures were 90 or more. It set a record for the warmest first half of June ever, and the summer just stayed hot after that. There were heat advisories, and then we had air quality warnings because of smoke from wildfires. Remember those weird sunsets and sunrises, and even during the day, the sun had an unusual color to it. It also was a very dry summer until we got to about the middle of August. And then we had almost as much rainfall in the second half of August as we'd had for the rest of the summer. So we ended up with the 10th hottest summer on record, but also the 10th wettest August on record. And then September arrived, and with it autumn, and we did have a fairly nice autumn. We had one more 90-degree day in September, but a lot of September had just very beautiful, mild temperatures. The fall colors took a little while to show up, and it was still windy. We've still been dealing with wind. So it wasn't a bad fall after all. And then we got to December, and this month has been an interesting one as well. You figure on December 10th and 11th, we had snow. We had 15 inches of snow. And then 4 days later, it was so warm, most of the snow melted, and we had tornadoes. The most recent data confirms that there were 16 tornadoes on the ground during the storm. So 2021 is ending with us having experienced a temperature range of 117 degrees, from 19 below to 98 above, and that's not taking into account the heat index. We set a number of records. It always is interesting weather-wise in Minnesota. So maybe keep track of weather things this coming year. Pay attention to what our temperatures are, what kind of cloud cover we have. Just get out and enjoy nature. Look at what's going on in nature. It's always fascinating. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Nature to Go, and we'll talk to you again next time.